Alrighty, we have something a little interesting here. We have a bathroom exhaust fan with a light built into it. They wired the switch to turn on and off the fan and the light together so you can never turn one off or the other off. And they ran 12-2 to the fan, and then they ran two 12-2s down to the switch and hooked it up so that just one switch rather than two switches, and the switch turns on and off both the fan and the light. So I will show you how to install a double switch. So you turn on and off the fan separately and turn on and off the light separately. Here in the country I was born in, we use a 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the blue or the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a switch loop or a 220-240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. So I will show you how to separate these two wires and switch the light and the fan separately and remark a wire so that it's known that it's live. So here is our power coming into the switch, and our power comes out of the switch, and it's connected to the white, which is the fan, and the black, which is the light, and they're using a white wire as a ground. We're just going to look and see how unevenly these wires are connected under this wire nut. See how poorly they were lined up and not put together properly? So I'll just stick this back on here to turn the breaker off. So I hear the fan running. So that's the circuit we are working on, and we turned it off. Okay, this is our double switch we got at Lowe's. They're made by Eaton. The two black screws here are common to both switches. And there's a little link here to break out if they're on two separate circuits, but in this case it's on the same circuit. Over here we have our line out for each switch. And of course we have our ground wire here. So we're going to take this wire that's down here by itself, and we're going to put it on one of these common terminals. So it's where we don't get them mixed up. So we will we'll unhook our common wire, which is the power coming into both. And we'll do this one first so we don't get our wires mixed. Okay, so we'll straighten it out. And we will, now it's not going to matter which one we put it on, so we close the one we're not using. And we will cut it down to length so it's not too long. So we'll put our wire under the terminal that we're going to be using. It's slightly long, so I'll straighten our wire out here a little bit, and I'll clip just a tiny bit off. And we'll put our common wire, which is the power coming into both switches, on one of these black screws here. Make sure insulation is not under the pressure plate, and we'll just tighten our screw up. Make sure it's tight, and we'll just close the one we're not using. Now we'll come over here. We'll take our wires out of the wire nut here, and we'll get rid of this switch. And we have a white, which is live now, so we're going to have to remark that with some electrical tape. And if you look at this tape closely, it's made here in the country I was born in. That's a nice thing to see. mark it so people know it's live. So we'll just take a little tape off here, break it off, and we'll mark this wire live. This way people won't unhook it and think it's a neutral wire. So we'll strip our wire just a little longer so we can get under the pressure plate all the way. So it doesn't matter which one we put it, switch we put it under. So we get our insulation just up to the bottom of the plastic and get our copper coming up through the whole pressure plate there. And we'll tighten it up. And we'll take our other wire here and we will hook it up to the other switch here. So we'll strip this a little longer. We'll get it under our pressure plate. Make sure our copper comes all the way up through here. And our insulation is down where we want it. We don't want it under the pressure plate, and we make sure it's nice and tight. Now we've got to hook our ground wire up. Now this white wire is what they're using for the ground. So we will unhook that. And we'll strip this back a little bit here. And we'll strip our uninsulated wire, or insulated wire here. We're going to use an insulated wire because when we push this into the box, we have terminals here, so I'm going to strip this end here. I'll strip this end a little bit. Okay, so now we'll get these wires together here. Perfectly even, that doesn't happen too often, so we'll get our other one in here. This is an 18 gauge wire, so we'll get that in here. We'll clip it so they're even with the shortest one, and I'm going to go get another yellow wire nut. And we'll put it on here. So it's nice and tight. Okay, now we can get our ground wire folded back into our box here. Get all the way back in here so it's out of our way. And we'll put it up, we'll connect it to our green screw to ground our device, the strap here. Okay, we'll make sure our insulation's not pinched under the screw head. And it's not pinched, so now we can push our device back into our box here. So we'll put our wires into our box, up and down, like an accordion. These will go down. And we'll push this one in. Just put it back into our box here. And we'll screw it into our box. And this takes the same cover as a GFI. Just make sure it's nice and snug. So this is a nice rocker switch.